Dick Sloan, man, this guy is a jerk. I mean, he is tough. He's an asshole.
Maybe for the brand.
Absolutely. So it was understand. It was okay. It was okay. But what it was that Dick was that hell, lithography had just really come on the scene strong at about that time, and the printer was always in charge. I'm a printer. You didn't question him. You didn't get back there. Dick Sloan questioned you. He wanted more than you thought you had. He wanted everything you could possibly give him, and that was the problem, because the people that were calling him by these names to me, telling me to be wary of him, were, I mean, he was asking something of them that they were either incapable of doing or unwilling to do, and he took it to a new level. He wasn't the only one. He wanted Dallas to become something more than a little town. I mean, he was looking at New York and LA and Chicago. These were the graphic centers, and he wanted us in competition with them. He wasn't alone in that thing. Stan Richards and a whole lot of other fine designers at that time were involved there to help us, take us to a new level. That's what Dick did. I loved him. I loved him a lot.
My first recollection of Dick is, again, I was a supplier. Another friend and I had come down out of school and we'd open up a studio, and Dick Sloan had been hired by the Wyatt Agency not too much in advance of when I got down here. So I remember going over and seeing this big round-faced, wide-eyed guy with kind of fuzzy hair, and also he come from University of Nebraska, and since I grew up in Kansas, I figured there might be some little touch of friendship developed out of that, and fortunately it did. Also, he bought some artwork. He bought a lot of bad artwork. God, he bought a lot of bad artwork. I don't think he was quite as critical at that moment, or else he just really kind sold, because but we didn't charge much either. It was cheap. It was cheap, but it was bad, but there was a lot of it.
I think it should be pointed, I came to Dallas in the mid-60s looking for a job as an ad agency copywriter. There really weren't that many agencies, weren't that many copywriter jobs, and I had zero credentials, either professionally or academically, for the advertising business. I think I had a job on a newspaper and I did yard work, and that was about it. And Dick, I called on the agency and met this guy who totally intimidated me to start, because I had no idea what creative directors did, which is what he was, and art directors and writers. I had no idea how agencies operated, but somehow or other he saw his way clear to either recommend that I be hired or he did the hiring himself. And I always wanted to ask him why he did that, and I never got around to it, because he was gone just about a year later, and I always wanted to. So I take this opportunity to thank you. Thanks, Dick.
Well, the thing that I think the common strain among this group is that he was such a good friend. I mean, he was really a loyal friend. Yeah, and he was a good, talented art director, but above that, I think he was an extremely good businessman. I know he was the first, I guess it would be the forerunner to the planner, because you'd go into his office and he'd have all these yellow tablets, you remember that? Sitting out, and boy, he was organized. He knew where everything was.
Totally the opposite.
But he was an extremely good guy, and he did a lot for the business in Dallas.
Dick hired me, I guess it was 61 or 62, I don't remember for sure. But we had a lot of fun working together. But that's the thing I remember about Dick, is he'd really go to bat for you. You know, all the bosses were in the far end of the deal. You had a problem, he would go down there and you know, like I say, go to bat for you. And he's a neat guy. We didn't always see eye to eye on everything, but I don't think anybody does. We had a lot of fun, especially in those first early days when y'all were down, y'all were on like the 7th floor.
Yeah, we moved over there after a while when we made a little more money.
Yeah, and you know, Joe Gardner, the guy that's not here, one of the things I remember mostly about Dick is Joe had a fight with an AE. This one day, remember Baby Huey? Remember Baby Huey? You know, we were walking down the hall, and Joe pulled an X-Acto knife on him. He said, I was Cyrano de Beaujolais, you. And Sloan and I were another off just bent over double laughing, and that's how I like to remember Dick, is laughing.
Yeah.
Dick was not a political creature. That's important. And that's what you say, he would stand up for his, well, he would.
Yeah.
If you're out on the town with him and you were doing personal stuff, have a hell of a time. Fun, great. You think, tomorrow I'll be fine on press. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The business side took over at that point. And brother, you better be good. I mean, all the Great American Corporation annual reports, page by page, we do a critique on the job when it was through. How are we going to do this better? He was not a political person, and as a result of that, it's like you said, you got crossways with him many times, because, I mean, you know, that's just the way it is. The board that he was chairman of the Dallas-Fort Worth Art Directors Club, I mean, if you were on his committee, brother, he had his yellow pad on you, and you better perform. I mean, and he and I co-chaired it. It was a good show. He came down on those people, man, if you didn't perform, I don't care who you were. As a result of that, you know, he didn't exactly put sugar on everything he said, and so he wasn't the most popular thing going. He was tough. As a result of that, you know, it was just such a political thing, the art director of the year we had at that time, and that meant that if you were voted by your peers as art director of the year, you went to Europe. We sponsored the whole thing. It always was the case that your current president next year would be art director of the year. Only one exception to that, Dick Sloan. And the next year he died. And I've never forgotten that. That hurt me more than anything, man. I just hated that because it was totally political. I mean, because he wasn't going to sweet talk you his way into that deal. He wasn't going to do it. Didn't do it. Didn't get it.
He would push you way beyond what you thought you were capable of. You'd do something, and it wasn't, he'd say, that's good, now go back and give me some more. And you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And that stayed with me to this day. And I do it myself, my own self. I can do better, and I can think better. And at the same time, he didn't have an ego problem, I don't think. I mean, he was good, but he had no problem hiring people who were better than he was. But I appreciate, because he championed people, you know, who had no experience like me, and many others. He kind of he championed you, and rather than just hired you and got squeezed as much work out as you could and then on your way, which I see happen, you know, all the time. But,
Yeah.
when I wrote something that you know, maybe was a little far out, he'd get it done. He'd sell it and make it better, and that's a great feeling to know that when you do something, it's going to get sold.
I think a nice reflection is something you're talking about, is that he did see things in people. You know, God bless how you ever saw them, and some of us I'll never understand. But, you know, and gave a lot of, you know, the younger folks, which I was at one time, you know, an opportunity to kind of, you know, develop and, to finally get there. In fact, the first decent illustration after a number of years I ever did was for Dick.
He was most effective president of the Dallas-Fort Worth Art Directors Club. He was.
Yeah.
He took that club to a new level. I promise you that.
Yeah, it was a little kind of a
It was
group
Dallas-Fort Worth
art directors, and
Yeah.
the old-fashioned kind of commercial artist type
Yep.
art director.
Yep.
Who did it all
Yep.
onto what it is today. Really, I mean, he kind of set the along with some guys like Jerry Page. I mean,
He set the tone for the DSVC. He did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
For what was to come.
Well, the idea, Dick had this idea of promoting Dallas as well. And
Very much
that's kind of a momentum that's continued to this day, of going out to regional colleges, Louisiana, Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, and promoting Dallas through the DSVC and these kids, getting them to come to Dallas, you know, want to aspire to come here to work. And this is I say, a motion that's continued to this day. Dallas has become a destination, even into the tough years when there were no jobs. But you talk to probably 3/4 of the kids. By the kids, I mean, you're just coming into this market, entry level, and they're come from because they've heard something about it through this organization or the awards. I mean, the kind of work that's being done here. And again, you can trace a lot of that back to Dick.
Also, spent a lot of late nights there. I remember we basically, I think we're just a floor or two down from you guys. And, if I was working down there till around 9 or 10 o'clock, I could always walk up there and find Dick, you know, still working up there. Of course, a lot of times I was working on his stuff, so I had to walk up there and see if it was doing it right or not. But
I always left at 5 o'clock. That always pissed everybody off.
But then we go out some nights. I mean,
We had a rally.
Dick would have a cocktail. A rally. That's exactly what he
Run the
called it.
flag up.
That's exactly
We
what he
call
called it.
it gringos.
We'd have a rally at
Gringos.
That's right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and he would have a cocktail.
Yeah.
What we described, this kind of ferment going on, and all of a sudden, bam, it was over. He was gone.
Yep.
And it was really, it was
Suddenly
like
one day.
suddenly
Like
noise.
you're pulling the plug.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that was really odd,
That was a
because it
black
was just
day.
like the head of the family, you know, like your father and I, well, who's in charge now? And it was, that was a hard thing to recover from.
Yeah.
Just the, you know, the mechanics of running the place and the kind of the energy that was there, it was gone.
Yep.
And I'm not sure it ever
Ever
returned, really.
You know, he was the first friend that I had that died before I thought anybody really could die on him. You know, we were all rather young at the time and semi-bulletproof. And that really did affect me, and I guess some of my art for a period after, at least.
Yes, it did.
Some people have hounded me about that in the past.
I didn't realize when he died, he was only 33. He wasn't that much older than I was, you know, but I see him as a guy who was like my dad, you know,
Right.
just way off there in age, 20, 25 years older, but he wasn't. So
Like he's-
I'm amazed at how much he accomplished
Yeah.
and how much he was able to, for such a young guy, to have that kind of impact.
Well, Dick would be real proud of what's happened with this fund.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and it,
I think it surprised everybody. I had no idea.
oh yeah. I mean, it's really worked. And like I say, I'm just so pleased that it has survived the years and maintained his name. That's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be delighted about this. First person I ever saw that got a, what do you call it, a Mexican food place, the tacos, meat tacos, and you'd eat it and it'd fall apart and crunch out and fall on your plate.
Yeah, well, I think
He put a soft corn tortilla on the outside. Is that?
He invented burritos?
He is the.